Okay, Steve. Well, while I continue to let people into the room, why don't I'd like everyone who's here to let us know in the chat, how familiar are you with Innovega's story? How familiar are you with the campaigns? We'd like to make sure this is as valuable as possible. So if you could just put in in the chat whether you're brand new, or that you're slightly familiar, or something else that's descriptive of your kind of connection to the company at that point, that'll really help us tailor this to be the most valuable for our audience today. Um, so looking forward to the chat populating with all your answers. Very familiar. Thank you, Dan. New here, but curious. Beautiful. I would love to see an answer from absolutely everybody. Just we want to make this again relevant and valuable. So the more you can let us know your background information, the better. And it seems like most people are somewhat connected. We've got a couple new people. Um, Very familiar. Love to see it. Early investor. Thank you so much for your support. Um, Very familiar. So it looks like most people have a good idea, Steve, of a little bit about Innovega. But for those that are not familiar, why don't you just do a quick wrap up to who we are, how we got here, and then we'll move forwards with some of the big updates that are on our plate right now. You're on mute, Steve. You're on mute.
Thanks, Joseph. Yeah, good morning to everyone. Thanks for taking time. I think what I'll do is I'll just talk through it since there are so many folks that have seen our slides and are familiar with our story top level. Those who haven't, let me get it started. So we began in Avega because we had this abiding belief that smartphones would run their course. What I mean by that is that media was getting very complex, immersive. We also saw 2D moving to 3D and HD to 4K. And a smartphone with a 6-inch screen was never going to give you the experience and value of what was possible. So smart glasses seemed like the obvious interface. And we've seen VR headsets, the early days, if you will, of moving to a conventional
You
pair
can
of
find them
glasses
really cooler. They're on sale.
that were entirely digital. So we began and we've had a journey because if the industry does not exist, you're sort of fighting all the way. But that is the DNA of our team. We take on challenges of building out new markets, and to do that, we solve complex technology. And in this case, the complex technology was to deliver a pair of normal glasses, 80% of his own, that would deliver the expansive, high function experience that was needed to accommodate the quality of media. And of course, today, the AI, the intelligence of media that was becoming available. And the impossible part specifically is how do you get a very big screen in a lightweight, all day wearable pair of glasses? So that's the journey we've been on. We recognize that glasses were inevitable because 80% of our perception, 80% of our human experiences are through the vision. And glasses, of course, are intimate to the vision, the hearing, speech. So if you can get it right, they'd be an amazing device. And we've had Apple and Google, Microsoft talking about glasses for a decade. None of them delivered what the customer wanted. We filed 80 patents. We took a completely different approach to solving this problem. And ultimately, we lay in the weeds waiting for the industry to form. And that's because when you're an early stage company, we're not Meta, we're not Google, you don't want to create an industry. You want to enter an industry with unique positioning. So we waited. And about 2 years ago, it became inevitable to us that the industry was struggling. Google Glass, they sort of pulled out and stayed out. And Microsoft with the HoloLens, they never got to glasses, backed out. And so we said, what do we take on here as a first application? Smart glasses are like a smartphone. They run an app essentially, so they can be used for entertainment, education, work. But we thought, what is the most straightforward? Let's not wait for the industry anymore. For all the standards and ecosystem and such, we'll just go. We'll just go with the device. And we thought about populations. We'd done some defense work. So we said, well, we could go back and do defense work. That'd be, interesting and valuable for our, global community or certainly our national community to do defense work. But we thought about patients and we thought, my goodness, I wonder how many vision impaired patients there are. And if there's enough, and enough that would be interested in wearing our glasses, that would be very cool and all day wearable, to enable us to launch our company into our first big market. And one thing we recognized is A, the market was huge, or the community was huge. Almost 300 million individuals are visually impaired or legally blind. And what's interesting is that that number is accelerating. If you live long enough, things wear out. You have vision issues, hearing issues, memory issues, etc. And we're living longer. So that 300 million becomes 500 million by 2050, 20 odd years from now, be 500 million individuals who are visually impaired, legally blind. And that's not including a whole bunch in China that we're not sure how many exist there, but we do know that myopia and eyesight issues are certainly a epidemic proportion in China. So you've got a $500 million individuals, and today they're using a white cane or they're using a guide dog or a magnifying glass. So they don't have good tools available to them. And those that have tried to offer support, digital support for that community, they've been very crude. For example, a VR headset with cameras on the front, and asking a person who's visually impaired, legally blind to go into a restaurant, put their headset on, the VR headset, and read a menu. And so, for obvious reasons, that whole supply chain, developers, and community has not been fruitful. So we come along and we said, no, we're talking Warby Parker quality glasses. You put them on, you instantly get a result, and they're all day wearable. So we went down that path and we built purpose-built, I'll call it, and personalized glasses for that community, very unlike the type of smart glasses that we're hearing from others. And I can talk about the distinction later. So how does our system work? We all know about glasses with a lens prescription, an optical prescription. You go get a prescription from your optometrist, you go to Costco and give you a pair of glasses. That's called an optical prescription. We add to that cameras, displays, compute algorithms, and we add, if you will, a digital prescription. So the generic glasses, but then they become personalized through this digital prescription. So now you have the optical prescription plus a digital prescription, and the glasses are connected. They're collected through your phone to the cloud. And the cloud, of course, has your intelligence, your AI. Now you have an intelligent prescription on top of your digital prescription, your optical prescription. You put those together and amazing things happen. And that's what we tested independently. And then more recently have been testing at our clinic in Southern California across all spectrums, all eye diseases. Our target are those who have so-called central vision loss. Wherever the person looks, it's a blur, big blur. And our goal is to simply restore near normal vision for reading, for distance. And that's exactly what we've delivered. And from a pair of conventional glasses that a person would be very comfortable wearing, very proud to wear. So that's the big picture of the business we're in, which is glasses, smart glasses, digital glasses, the launch community that we have chose to serve, not only massive 300 million, but growing to 500 million and beyond, that's completely unserved, has no good solution available to them. And we've tested our solution, and the results have been published, peer-reviewed, published, and are outstanding. We are able to hand a pair of glasses to a person who is legally blind, visually impaired, legally blind, and immediately get a restoration of their ability to have vision, be it for reading, recognizing the grandkids, recognizing a sign down the street. So now we're at a point where we need to run. We need to scale, as they call it. We've got demonstrators and early prototypes and samples, and that's what we've been using in the last 2 years for testing. Now we have to move that to an Apple grade, Apple phone, Apple grade quality mobile device, wearable device that just works reliably, always, easily. That's where we've been, it's where we are.
Thank you, Steve. And so most of you said you've attended some of these webinars or familiar. So just so you know how it works, we want your questions. So feel free to leave them in the chat throughout the presentation, and we'll do our best to get to all questions at the end of the presentation. And also, again, we want this to be valuable. So I would think that the majority of people here are considering investing for the first or multiple times, and or considering getting the products themselves. So put in the chat what it is that is most important for us to provide you with clarity during this session. Again, we're here for you. So the more clarity you give us in terms of the questions you have, the areas you want to learn more about. I've seen a lot of people talk about the contact lenses as well as the glasses. We'll make sure to address those. Also in the chat, we've included the Innovega campaign page where you can check that out and learn more, as well as the investor deck. Usually Steve presents the investor deck, but today we're just going to give it to everyone so you can peruse it on your own during the presentation and after. Okay, so Steve, let's come current. You've been traveling all over the world, Taiwan, Dubai. You've been meeting with leaders of this industry across the board in terms of manufacturing, engineering, design, investment, innovation. Why are you traveling so much? What are you learning, and how does that position Innovega globally?
I've mentioned we're transitioning to a commercial supplier of solutions into this unserved community. And that means we need a world-class, I'll call them AAA, contract manufacturer to do this work. And a type of manufacturer that's comfortable, experienced with mobile devices. It's not something that's going to sit nicely on your desk and never move. This is going to be put on and off, dropped on the floor, plugged in 50 times a day, potentially. So I've been in Taiwan. That's where traditionally smartphones have been built. And our CTO is actually from Apple. So he offers just the general insight of how mobile devices are manufactured and the players. And so in Taiwan, the big three are considered Foxconn. I believe they're number one, probably $500 billion company. A company called Quanta, and there's a company called Pegatron. And they handle the accounts, if you will, for Apple, Meta, Microsoft, the major players that are shipping, tens and hundreds of millions of devices per year. One thing that we've been asked by our patients is, or subjects, patients, is that please don't give me a pair of goggles. Don't make me look stupid. I've gone through my life being sort of put off to the side to use these arcane devices. Just let me get a cool pair of glasses, like you have, and the community will support you 1000%. And we took that seriously, and we recognized in order to get the complexity of a mobile device with all the features that I described in a pair of glasses, we would need a world-class manufacturer. And again, they happen to be in Taiwan. So we've been out there a few times. We've been interviewing prospects, if you will, to become our manufacturer. We're very close to inking an arrangement, an agreement with one of the large, not be too specific here, suppliers, and it will be of that AAA quality. So that's had me in Taiwan. There's really two parts of that commercialization and scale. There's a set of design practices that are put into place because the designs we have pursued were for in-lab demonstrations, and they were absolutely suitable. So how they functioned was consistent with down in San Diego and how we perform tests. The In order to have the glasses that I've described, we now need a design for manufacturing for the specific supply chains that would be available. Camera manufacturers, display manufacturers, compute chips manufacturers. So it's a different set of design. You take our design and then you modify it and you specify suppliers for the scaled solution. So there's the engineering piece. And then once you have the engineering piece in place, then you have a full-blown contract manufacturer who builds a line, an assembly line, if you will, an integration line. So there's two pieces. The first was why I was there most recently, and we contracted. The big news in the last week was the contract with the design team, roughly 5 individuals who are now working with us cheek to jowl, as the expression goes, and taking our designs, our proven functional designs, to designs for manufacture and designs for tooling and fixturing and all the things you do when you start to ramp. So that has been a very successful element, securing a team, having that team dedicated, and that team is working with us now, and they will build a first sample, a first prototype as early as February, March of next year. So we'll go from a demonstration with wires and paper clips and Scotch tape, which has been very functional, very useful, to now something that looks very much like a finished product, but it'll be a sample from our Taiwanese engineering team. And then we get to move on to building out that line, building out that integration assembly line to scale the product and have it supplied to the market. So that's been the Taiwan piece. We've been in other Southeast Asian countries dealing with other supply chain opportunities. But overall, the integration, the final element is almost definitely coming from Taiwan. I was in Dubai, and in fact, Joseph, you might be mentioning that, and that's because it became known to us that the incidence of eye disease in the Middle East is about 50% higher than in North America, and I got really intrigued by that. And and it's due to the consequence of a lot, a lot of sand and a lot of sun. And there's also diabetes sort of going on in a significant way in the Middle East. You put those three together, you get a lot of eye disease. And so much so that the size of the community in the Middle East is about the size of the community, which is about, 20 million targeted individuals in North America. So we got to thinking, well, maybe there's a second market. I mean, it's very typical for one to launch in your home market in North America, which is our intent. But we thought we had better get an understanding of the Middle East and what kind of a market that is, with a view that perhaps we could launch product in parallel markets. And Kevin O'Leary said something a few months ago when he was interviewing someone. He said, I think you better go to Dubai. And I didn't even know where Dubai was. He wasn't talking to me, he was talking to someone else. And I just caught the video, the YouTube. And he said, it's happening over there. And things are moving very, very fast to the extent that he was making a personal commitment and business commitment to Dubai and the Middle East. Put all that together, and we decided, let's just get on a plane, go over there, find out, is the market as large as we thought? And is there a welcoming market for new tech, health tech, med tech? And the answer was, when we met with the health agencies, the digital health agencies, the regions are very advanced, moving very quickly, as Kevin O'Leary said. And we got from four different groups, Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Jordan, Saudi. Hey, there's massive problem here with eye disease, legal blindness. We don't have a solution. We're looking for anything that's going to help. So we now believe that the Middle East is a very viable market for us, whether we try to launch in parallel or whether we kind of launch North America and then move into the Middle East, that becomes viable. That's caused us to do a lot of travel. So we've been handling in parallel here, walking and chewing gum, handling the whole supply chain, manufacturing chain, and the market opportunity, the launch opportunity, and geography in parallel. Very successful. It's all coming along well.
So, you obviously, we talk a lot about Innovega's glasses, but I feel like one of the things you've been doing, especially in places like Dubai and the Middle East, is you've been learning about all of the leading edge solutions right now. Smart glasses, AI glasses is really taking off. So, what are you learning about what other companies are doing in this space, and how would you define Innovega's positioning? Because the market is moving very quickly right now.
It's a great question, and it's something we'd hoped for, the fact that it's quote unquote the markets are taking off. We again, there was no industry as we had our clear vision, pardon the pun, and got started and got building and filing patents and such. There was no smart glasses industry, a lot of talk, and that was it. We believed that the industry would break open and it would on its own begin to scale, but as a commodity product. And that's exactly what we've seen. So the company called X Real about 5 years ago took a pair of glasses to market, and you plug it into your phone, and all they do, it's a second screen to your phone. So instead of having a phone screen, you now have a bigger screen on your head. And so that sort of commodity product forming this new industry called smart glasses for consumers was exactly what we were hoping for. And what we would do, because we're a bunch of deep tech nerds, we're going to solve the real problems, super high value, challenging issues where we could deliver products that are absolutely unique. And we did that in the defense work that we did. We did about $6 million of defense work. We delivered against a specification that everyone had failed to meet. We met, we delivered. The deep vertical, as we call it, which is 300 million going to 500 million vision impaired, was perfect in that we could build this unique product dedicated, personalized to the needs of that community, and then be entirely unique in that community, which is where you want to be. So the answer, Joseph, is smart glasses is taking off. The products that we're seeing are very much commodity. Our uniqueness is to get a big experience, big display, big function, big tech in a normal pair of glasses that you're seeing behind me. That has been considered impossible. It's still not something that even the Metas, and Meta has put, I think, about $80 billion so far into this wearable space, into their Oculus and then the smart glasses and Ray-Ban work. No one has big, meaningful, functional display that can be dedicated to these deep vertical markets that are very profitable and very large and unserved. No one has that aside from Innovega, to our knowledge.
That's fantastic. I know I want to kind of bring the journey all together because those who are familiar with Innovega's journey from the beginning know that you had made some incredible breakthroughs in the contact lens space.
Yes.
A lot of people are asking about that now. So my understanding is Innovega did what a lot of these companies with deep pockets tried to do and couldn't do is create a functional smart contact lens. And you did it. And you've been moving through phase one and phase two FDA trials. Does the focus right now seem to be on the smart glasses hardware? And where does that leave the contact lens journey? Help us understand kind of how both product lines are coming along,
Yeah.
why you're making current strategic decisions, and what the future is going to look like over the next few years.
Yeah, great question, and it is strategic, and it's how we think about it. So we've never thought of ourselves as being in a smart contact lens business, albeit we filed 75 patents across 14 families, and the majority relate to the complexity of building a smart contact lens. Smart contact lens is a contact lens that does something more than just correct your vision, conventional lens. So ours is very smart, does a lot of things, and our patent breadth is 14 families, absolutely amazing. We developed that as a component of smart glasses. We're not in the smart contact lens business, we're in the smart glasses business. It's our commitment. But by removing the lenses from, think about a VR headset. They've got some very large lenses, about 1 inch in diameter. By removing those lenses from a VR headset and putting in a smaller screen, you could collapse a VR headset to a pair of glasses, but you had to put the lens back in the system somehow. And our decision was to put it in a modern, soft, disposable contact lens. So we have a product platform where you have glasses with cameras and displays. You put on a contact lens and they work together, and you get an absolutely amazing experience. So if you think about VR, you get a VR experience from a pair of glasses. It's what everybody's dreamed of. That's what the contact lens and glasses enable. We have taken it through multiple phases of FDA. Once we decided that we would deliver a solution and make a commitment to the vision impaired with that system, we started to think about all of those who just couldn't wear a contact lens. If you're visually impaired, there's some number that, as hard as they try, they would not be able to wear a contact lens. And we started to think like doubly hard, if you will, doubly hard on a solution which would be good enough and, in fact, purpose built, but great for that application. It may not be for that VR application I described, or simulation, or training, or design, but a pair of glasses that would be perfect for that massive unserved market that did not need a contact lens. And then we would ultimately take both the glasses alone for those that could benefit from it to that market. And then we would take the contact lens and glasses combination that would give you literally an order of magnitude 4, 6 times the level of performance for those visually impaired who really needed it, those legally blind, actually, who really needed the extra work. So now we have a chosen launch market, visually impaired, legally blind. We've got a product that goes to market quicker, which is the glasses, without the contact lens, which means no FDA approval, which means we can launch anywhere. We can launch this product in Turkey. And then with a follow-up, we're bringing in the contact lens added to the glasses, and that becomes the octane. That becomes the supernova, the super performer to cover the entire community, the vision impaired community. And that product line, the combination of the two, enables us to go into other markets. So the idea of the launch is very purposeful. We launch into a community which is very large, it's unserved, and it's available to us. But we're paralleling into other apps. Remember, a smartphone just runs an app. Our smart glasses just run an app. So we'll be developing other apps for other markets outside. And both of those platforms, standalone glasses and combination contact lens and glasses, will have purposes in these other applications. It puts us in an extremely good position. And the strategic decision was this is a real market with real need. These people are begging, those coming by our facility are saying, I don't want to leave the facility without a pair of glasses on my head. How do I do that? On that basis, strategically, we would get the easiest solution to market, one that did not require FDA, did not require a contact lens, but continue to work the contact lens regulatory piece, ready to follow, fast following strategy. So that's how that all came about.
Appreciate that, and I think a lot of people on here as well appreciate that clarity, Steve. Last question before we go to the official questions from the participants here. Everyone's asking about timelines to market. So when will the glasses be available to purchase? When will the contacts potentially be coming out and being made available? So could you look forwards for the next, 6 months, 12 months, 24 months, and just help us understand the timeline for when the things are gonna hit the market and be available for those who need them?
Yeah, certainly. And I've been in and out of public markets, NASDAQ and other public markets all my life, so you're always a little careful about what you forecast. But we have a design group working with us, literally on a call last night. We'll be on another call in a few days, and that's going to get that golden sample. That's what often called the first sample, full function sample to us in that March timeframe. So if I think about supply of the product, the commercialization of the product in the next 6 months, we will transition from demonstrator solutions to commercial solutions we can hold in our hand and say, this is it. This is what we've been waiting for. This is what 300 million people have been waiting for. The 12-month horizon enables us to take that, pass it to the contract manufacturer. And again, us working intimately with that contract manufacturer and all of the supply chain elements of it, quality elements, reliability, etc. And that we absolutely want to be delivering commercial product by the end of next year. So early, kind of end of first quarter next year, we have that golden part. And then put yourself in a position so that you have a line, if you will, an optimized line, assembly line, and that can be scaled. And we'd like that line in place before the end of next year, so a 2026 product. And between that single golden part and that ready to, light the fuse, there's going to be sampling runs. And there's fancy words if you're in this industry which is kind of like you have to get to an EVT stage and then a DVT stage and a PVT stage. Remember, these are not glasses we're going to build in our back room. It's so exciting for me because most entrepreneuring teams never have this opportunity to get their solution to a AAA manufacturer. And it's almost shocking that manufacturers that typically say, hey, it's 1 million units a year or get out of my office. 3 out of 3 have embraced and said, yeah, I know we always say that, but this is something special. This is a gift to humanity, restoring quality of life, independence to such a large community. And of course, extending from that, and I could talk all day about how we extend from that. They said it's so amazing, so shocking what you've achieved, and it's good for humanity, and maybe it is massive. You won't give us a number. They're saying, hey, what are we going to do first year, second year? I'm saying, I don't know. No one's taken this quality of product to market, to this community. And they say, I think it's a lot larger than you believe, and we're on side. So given that opportunity, we have to find the money to fund not only this design, so this commercial part, but to then deal with AAA manufacturers that are used to getting very big checks from the Apples and the Metas and the Microsofts and others. And that's the start engine. So we have to accelerate this raise. We have to close this $5 million like we intend to as soon as possible. That money doesn't go in my pocket, obviously. That goes directly into that manufacturing ramp, that commercial ramp. There's no R&D challenges between here and delivering product. I put my foot on the accelerator. As long as I've got gas in the tank, we deliver product. So that's where we are. It's within the horizon, Joseph, that you described in that 12 to 15-month horizon. And and we can accelerate it once we have the funds to do so. And we love to do crowdfunding for obvious reasons. We love to bring people along, as many people as possible.
Appreciate it, Steve. So we have a ton of questions. I'm going to get in
Oh,
a second. So I
sure.
hope you're ready. But
Yes.
before we do that, I've had a lot of people ask me about the investment process itself.
Yeah.
So I'm going to share my screen for 1 minute because it's not as overwhelming as people might think.
Okay.
Campaign link in the chat for anyone who's not familiar with the Start Engine platform. There's a direct link. You can just go to startengine.com, look for Innovega. This is the direct link. If you want all of the campaign updates that come out first, add to the watch list. You basically just need to create an account with an email and a password, and you'll have an account. Here's the campaign page to learn more details. If and when you're ready to invest, just click Get Equity. Again, you'll have to log into your account. I'm going to log into Steve's account. And you basically just choose any investment amount you want. $498 is the minimum. And you move forwards. They've just streamlined this process. So it's basically as quick. You do not have to check this box. This is just if you want to become a Start Engine member. You literally just have to put in an amount and submit the investment and add your payment amount. So the Start Engine has worked really hard to make this as easy as possible. If anyone does have any issues, feel free to contact our team. But that is how you move forwards with an investment. And like Steve said, at this point in time, we're making all kinds of internal developments, production developments, and we need fuel in the tank. And that's what this community is for. There's never been a better time or more exciting time in this incredible journey Innovega is on, and we need the support of our community. So please share this campaign with others, people who you know could benefit and who might be interested in supporting this really important mission. So with that, let's get to some of the questions. First, what is the battery life of the glasses?
If you're blind in the morning, you're blind in the evening. So the specification is all day wearable. We'll make it so that there's opportunities for a fast charge, if you will. And the fact is that because our glasses are see-through, there's a transparent screen. What we've seen with the wearers is that they will put the glasses on, they'll activate them to do something, to read something, to recognize something, and then they'll go off, and they'll be satisfied with looking through the clear lenses at their world. So on that basis, what we've seen is that if a person ran the glasses and watched a Netflix video, full bore, it may be a few hours. Of course, it's just the size of the battery, but that's not how people use them. So on our user studies, and they'll continue, our intent is that these be all day wearable, which is what they need to be.
Fantastic. Does this help with Stargardt's?
Absolutely. Stargardt's is a central vision loss. We've tested, several individuals who have Stargardt's. It's obviously damage to the back of the eye, to the retina. And if you look through some of our videos, if you go to YouTube, go to Innovega, you'll find a young lady by the name of Megan, and she has Stargardt's disease. She's legally blind, and she tells a great story. She came by our lab, wore the glasses. In fact, she wore the glasses, and then she also wore the glasses and the lenses. So she's had the benefit of both platforms, and she'll tell you instantly what happened for her. So please check that out. But Stargardt's is a really great target for us because it afflicts the younger population. So as much as we're pleased to get a pair of glasses on a 75-year-old, many of whom are losing vision, we're very excited about getting glasses on a 10-year-old, 20-year-old who've got a whole life ahead of them.
So I'm going to combine the next few
Yeah,
questions, which are all about just different conditions. So would they be suitable for someone with 3 to 5% vision? Do they correct color blindness? What about macular degeneration, wet and dry? What about night blindness and peripheral vision loss? So everyone's just trying to get a better understanding of who these can serve, and perhaps you'd like to address those collectively.
sure. So the first product that goes to market is dealing with the largest part of that vision impaired community, and that's so-called central vision loss. And that is due to diseases such as AMD, age-related macular degeneration, or all sorts of retinal dystrophy, retinal issues. And it's that notion again that in a very frustrating way, everywhere I look, it's like a blur. I might be able to see on the side a little bit, but that doesn't really help me if I'm trying to read a book, try to recognize a face. So central vision loss is where we launch. Could we have another product that helps those who are getting tunnel vision? Their central vision might be okay, but they've lost their peripheral vision. Might be a car coming about to knock them over, but they would never know that, aside from the sound. But they would never see that, and that causes all sorts of problems. That's another product, and our technology with cameras and displays and algorithms and compute and connected to clouds and such enables us to reach beyond this first app for central vision to those who have peripheral vision loss. Because we get to manipulate displays and cameras and such, those that might have color blindness, many people do, as well as these other diseases, we could shift the color because they're seeing their world through very high performance cameras and displays. If they see green a little better than red, well, we just shift what they're seeing, we shift the color. So we expect to accommodate many eye diseases and conditions beyond what I've just described. We're probably approaching 80% of the market with this central vision loss, but we're not leaving behind all those others in that market that have challenges. If anyone can bring the best of breed technologies to a pair of glasses, it is Innovega, no question.
Sorry, I had to unmute myself. Appreciate that, Steve. A lot of questions about the FDA. Can you clarify for us, is FDA needed for just the glasses or just the contacts? And where is kind of the timeline and the progress through the FDA compliance process?
Mhm. The FDA is interested in the contacts. They're interested in that which is in the body or contacts the surface of the body, surface of the eye. So FDA is very interested in the contact lenses in this phase one, phase two, phase three. And again, we finished phase one. We're working on phase two. We're preparing for phase three. So that's all the contact lens. FDA is not interested from a standpoint of giving an approval on a pair of glasses. A VR headset doesn't need a FDA approval. So the first product that is a standalone pair of glasses, we file with the FDA because we're going to offer it to patients who will use it for clinical medical reasons. Filing to say, hey, we're taking these glasses to market and patients will use it is very different than saying, we'd like to do that. What steps do I have to take to enable you to approve that for us? Which of course are complex, and it's exactly the path we've been moving through for the contact lens. So again, the beauty is that we make a filing for our glasses with the regulatory authorities, be it in Europe, Asia, United States, and that's all. And as we introduce the contact lens, we finalize the contact lens for market, we will gain a so-called market clearance and FDA approval for it. but that does not affect us in the coming 18 months.
So there's no FDA needed for the smart glasses themselves, only for the contact lens version.
Correct.
Um, some people are asking about, from a long-term investor perspective, what is the exit strategy? And is there any kind of return on investment once and if this goes public?
The list of exits are numerous. Certainly listing the company offers shareholders an opportunity to buy and sell stock and exit from the company. Something I'm very familiar with. This is my fifth, sixth venture. Half of them have listed. Um, so it's a great way to access capital for a company that wants to continue to grow, and is a great way to offer the benefit of shareholders to get up every morning and decide whether they're buying or selling stock. So that's the obvious, very accessible for us. The other one is to be bought. And who might be interested in buying us? Well, those who've been trying to take smart glasses to market for the last 10 years, which is Apple, Meta, Microsoft, Snap. It's a long list. And also the contact lens companies, the big four in the world, Johnson & Johnson, Bausch Lomb, CooperVision, Alcon. They've been very interested in smart lenses. And for 10 years, they've been trying to develop a smart lens that could be approved by the FDA and have purpose, not just a smart lens for the fun of it, but a smart contact lens that has really big function. And our lens working with our glasses would fall into that category. And the beauty is, which we haven't spoken about, are all the other applications that we would have for our contact lens outside of working with our glasses. So we could be bought by 8 companies that I might think about. That would be a handy exit. In terms of the dollars, I can only give examples. We're raising money today with I think Start Engine has documented some 60 odd million dollar valuation. It's their calculation. It seems accurate. Companies that have been bought, startups, pre-commercial startups, no revenue, by Google, for example, have been in the order of Google and Meta and Snap, take the big three, those three, they've been paying between 200 and 500 million dollars for startups, pre-revenue startups with complex technologies in this space. I think by the time they bought Innovega, we'd be well down the road beyond a startup, but with commercial product in market and a portfolio of products into other markets and an ability to scale that through our manufacturers and other partners. So I like to think of investors coming in, joining us, and having a 500% return on investment or 1,000%, 5x, 10x. It's all very possible from where we sit today.
And a related follow-up question, and you've kind of touched on this, but does Innovega need an IPO to raise enough funds for commercialization, or is this crowdfunding going to be sufficient to move us forwards along that path?
It does not need an IPO. There's many ways of raising money, of course. Innovega's raised $23 million, and we've done some crowdfunding work in the past. We raised $5 million a few years ago. Very similar sort of format that we have with Start Engine today. So we can raise money through institutions, funds, private individuals, and crowdfund without even thinking about public offering. In terms of where we stand today and taking product to market, we'll finish this we'll finish this crowdfund, which actually is a public offering because it's available to everyone. So we'll finish this crowdfund up, and then we will look at, what funds we require, what is the best way to access those funds to continue to fund the commercialization and personalization of our product for this market. It could be private, but it also could be listing. What I would say is that, I get a vote as a board member and CEO that we shouldn't go to markets until they're welcoming. And that's a terminology I like to use. There's a time to be listed and there's a time not to be listed. And if I look back in the last 4 years, I feel so badly for those who chose to list in a very difficult market and they have not done well. So again, strategically, we haven't listed. We didn't need to list. We don't need to list next month, next year. But we'd consider it. We're quite capable, and this company has the stature and the gravitas to be listed and do well.
Thank you, Steve. So I'm very conscious of people's time, so we'll
Yeah.
try to wrap it up in the next couple questions.
Okay.
But a couple components is like, will insurance cover it? Are there any insurance pathways that you've been exploring?
Mhm. We've explored a couple. It's hard to give a blanket response to that. We met with a group by the name of VSP, and VSP is a very large insurer, and we thought it was a good sample. And we had discussions, and we described, we have glasses that don't just correct vision like standard glasses, but they correct vision like for almost anyone. They go the extra mile and we got a very positive response. And we understood from them that they have an allocation of dollars for a person who's, has VSP insurance and uses it to get conventional glasses, a couple of pair of conventional glasses a year. And there was an absolute openness to extend that to those individuals where conventional glasses couldn't get them from visually impaired, legally blind to where they needed to be. So I can't give you the details. I have the details, but I can't share them. It's confidential at this point. But the answer was there's a willingness to have a conversation and participate. I mean, literally contribute to solving this need. And the other is we've gone to the VA hospital, 68 million, it's like an insurer, 68 million members in the Veterans Association hospital or agency, and 1 million are visually impaired. So if you're in the VA hospital and you need something, that's under that insurance, under that membership. And again, positive reaction from the VA hospital. We consider that to be a prime customer for us in North America. So they could literally serve 1 million vision impaired in North America through that agency. So more work to be done. It's an arcane field, insurance as it is, but we have great confidence that there will be levels of support and coverage for, certain parts of that community.
Appreciate it. Two more questions.
Sure.
Can you just speak a little bit about the patents and any AI patents that in Vegas? I know patents has been a big part of your,
Sure.
strategic entry into the market. So there's a couple
Yeah.
questions to get a little bit of clarity on that.
Yeah. AI has been around for a long time. We didn't call it AI. We called it machine vision, called it just collecting data from sensors and manipulating it, analyzing it and using it. And so we've written patents purposefully, recognizing that in a pair of glasses, it's a very natural place to put tiny cameras or tiny sensors for two purposes. Number one, to be looking at the patient and understanding better their condition, if you will, and is the condition changing? And also looking out at the world, understanding again for this patient in particular, this community, whether the world has got anything that's unsafe. And you can think about a person who's legally blind, who's walking, and they're looking out and focusing on something, but there's a curb 6 feet away that drops down a few inches, and that's not where their attention is. The AI component enables your intelligent agent, angel on your shoulder, to look through the camera with you and look at things that could be important to you, like a curb that you're about to fall down. So we recognized all of that in our last 10 years, even those very early days, that the glasses would be offering this opportunity to collect and then communicate massaged data, intelligent data. Today I'd call it AI. And that's why we say ours are connected glasses, AI glasses. And the patents that we wrote covering what I just described absolutely fall within that envelope. So we're there.
Okay, beautiful. And then again, so there's a lot of kind of questions about how they work. So for the last question of the day, and thank you everyone for your incredible engagement and questions. We really appreciate it. Just help us explain, see, like, how do the glasses work for those that may or may not use magnification? For those that are wondering about, can one eye be different than the other? Is it near? Is it far? Um, just help us understand, from a functional perspective, what are these glasses? What are these contacts actually providing for those used to kind of some of the limitations of traditional devices?
Yeah, the beautiful part of this is by introducing the digital elements, you have amazing flexibility. So think about the camera on a smartphone. Got an iPhone, it's got a camera. You use the camera to look at the scene. It can actually look at something 12 inches away. and you can zoom it. Or you can look at something a mile away, take a beautiful picture, photo. So a camera, a digital camera, has an ability to see near, far, light, dark, focusing, zooming. That's just one element that we have now in our glasses. So think about the center of the glasses. There's a very high performance, call it 4K, call it 8K camera, and it's able to look near, far, in lower level lighting conditions, able to zoom things by a factor of 20. So you now have that capability in that one element, the camera. The camera enables collection of that scene, and we can then analyze, manipulate, personalize what that wearer needs to see, and then deliver that back to these very high performance displays that are sitting inside the glasses. The wearer is seeing their world through a camera, talking to a display with an intermediary of our algorithms, our compute, our AI. So if this was just a lens, go to Costco, get a pair of glasses with a lens, it's fixed. It does things a certain way. In the old days, you get glasses for reading, different than glasses for distance. This is a whole new ballgame. This is intelligent. It's mass customization, mass personalization, and it's just bringing best digital technology, adding it to optics technology, adding it to intelligence to deliver a completely different level of performance. So many of the questions we've had, can it do this? Can it do that, etc.? The answer is yeah. Just give us a chance. Just give us an opportunity.
Okay, one bonus question, just because
Yeah.
we have to respond to Jay's comment. He says, you can get all of this today at iDaptic. Do you care to respond to that?
The art is to get the pair of glasses that are sitting behind me that weigh a couple of ounces that look completely normal, even cool and stylish, um, and deliver a level of performance that's going to enable a person who's visually impaired, legally blind. It's putting those two together that is the magic. So the iDaptic, if they look like the glasses sitting behind me, a couple ounces, really cool, conventional, person's not going to stand out. Gee, what are they wearing? And they delivered the level of performance that I described, they would be considered a strong competitor. They're not.
Okay. Fantastic. Well, I'm going to wrap it up there. Just appreciate everyone staying overtime. Thank you again. Have a fantastic day. Get in touch. If you have any questions, you can email us at social@innovega.io. Please stay tuned to the campaign. Super exciting stuff to come, and we can't wait to share it with you.
Yeah, sincere thanks to everyone. We're on the eve almost of Thanksgiving. Enjoy the holidays. And Joseph, thank you as always.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks, everyone. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thanks. Bye.